But to be honest, Bishop actually sent me the areas, and then I did the search in that area. And he's such a man of God with wisdom. He is very observant. He observes certain things, and then he's able to predict, right? He is a man of proactivity. Please, let's give it to him.
Acclamons très fort le prophète. Il m'a donné des sujets pour que puisse faire des recherches dessus pour pouvoir vous présenter aujourd'hui.
So, please, this part is very, very important as pastors and as church leaders, because most often we don't pay attention to this side.
Et ce côté est très important pour vous, des pasteurs, pour nous les pasteurs, et parce que nous ne prenons pas attention sur ce côté-là.
You have not done extensive research, but the little search I did, I realized that among all the profession, if you should count the least paid profession, pastors should be part. True or false?
True. Et parmi toutes les professions, c'est le pasteur qui était mal payé. Parmi toutes les professions, c'est le pasteur qui est mal payé.
And you also realize that most often you see a pastor, top pastor, great man with full of anointing, he goes to pension and his life becomes miserable.
Et tu vois un homme de Dieu qui était bien moyen et par fini quand il va en pension.
With all the anointing on him.
Quand il va en retraite, il est devenu misérable.
So this part is very, very important. We are going to correct those things in our churches.
Nous allons mettre tout sur le bon chemin.
Correct them now.
Dans nos églises.
We are going to correct them.
Nous allons les
so please,
mettre sur le bon chemin.
Make sure you don't miss a point. Even if somebody is sending you a WhatsApp chat, don't miss any slide because it's very, very important.
Ne regarde pas à côté, regarde ici parce que c'est très important.
So the first one has to do the pension modalities. We also look at taxation system of the church. We also look at allowable deductions. We look at taxation rates. We look at summary of everything in terms of the payments, what you are supposed to do. So this will be the outline for the second presentation. For the pension, what I try to do is that how it's calculated at this point is not important here, because the formula looks a bit confusing. You see sigma fs divided by pi 2 times tan theta, you'll be confused. And I don't want to confuse my audience. So you will not see calculation here. Why? Because what is most important is the variables that goes into the calculation, and how as an individual we can influence the variables. I hope you are with me here.
Est-ce que vous êtes là? Et pour vous montrer la retraite module, je ne vais pas faire tous les calculs ici parce que ça va vous confondre. Donc, on est dessus.
So we go straight away. We look at the basic pension. And then for those that would want to read further, I have the Act, the Pension Act 2008. I have it. I'll leave it with the media team. If you want to read more, you can have it. But I've tried to summarize the important points, those ones you should need to be able to help build, and then let our pastors go on pension. In our part of the world, when they're going to pension, when they're going on pension, it looks like a case. And we see people, the person is 60 years and is adjusting his age. Can you imagine? And he comes to work, he's tired. He sits down while he's sleeping. He sits down, he can't even tie the computer. Right? Why? Because our part of the world, pensions are not so attractive. However, there are certain things that we can do to be able to make it attractive within our own, space. So that's what they are going to share. So there's something we call the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I'll try to explain what the tier 1 means, the tier 2, and then the tier 3. So with the tier 1, what it means is that this is the basic pension which goes to Senate. Employee pays 5.5%. And then employer pays 13%. The 5% out of the 5.5, okay, that one is added to the employer's 13.5. The 13%, making it 13.5, and that will go to the Senate. That's the first year. So it's like the first year, according to the pension scheme, there's something called the first tier. So the first tier is I, as an employee, or so you being a pastor, let me use a pastor, the salary you are giving you 1,000 cedis. 5.5% of the basic 1,000 cedis would be taken out. The employer, which is the church, will also pay 13% on your behalf. And then it will take 5%, 0.5% and add it to the 13 to make it 13.5. And that one will be invested in the tier 1. That's the basic pension.
Si nous regardons ça, pour aller en retraite, toi, le pasteur, vous allez payer 5,5%. Et votre employeur, qui est l'église, va payer 13,5%.
And then the second one, the second tier or the tier 2. The tier 2 is the 5% remaining, okay? Initially it was 5.5. 0.5 has been taken out. So the remaining 5% will go into what is called the tier 2.
Et le deuxième tiers, si toi tu payes 5%, et ils vont payer 5,5% pour toi.
And then the third one is the tier 3. And with the tier 3, this is a voluntary. Some employers do, and then others too, they don't do it.
Et il y a certains employeurs qui payent les pensions pour les employeurs, mais il y a d'autres qui ne payent pas.
And then we say that the tier 2 and the tier 3 are regulated by National Pension Regulatory Authority, that's EMPRA. The first tier is also managed by SNIT, but also regulated by what? The EMPRA.
Et le deuxième et troisième sont régulés par un groupe de sociétés ou bien le gouvernement lui-même.
For the tier 2 and the tier 3, all fund managers must be registered with EMPRA. What it means is that you don't just, after taking the money, you don't just take it to any place. You have registered fund managers, which are regulated by EMPRA. EMPRA means the National Pension Regulatory Authority. Okay, so if I give a short code, that is the meaning of the EMPRA. Okay, so the 2, the 3 are regulated by EMPRA, and then the first is also managed by the SNIT, which is our normal basic pension we know already.
Il parle de comment on appelle les sociétés qui gèrent ce somme d'argent des gens qui travaillent.
And then for tier 2 and tier 3, all fund managers must be registered with the EMPRA. Where the employer manages it, it is termed as employee sponsor scheme. In some companies, the employer would manage it. Instead of taking it to a party or a fund manager, they will manage it. When you manage it like that, it's allowed. And we call that one a sponsor scheme. It can also be given to a trustee. For example, we have the ASI pension, the Old Mutual, Enterprise, and then we have the Glyco. Yes. I think for Calvary, we have it Glyco. Okay. Yes. And this is something that Bishop, I think he got the concept very, early. Okay. So anybody that is on our payroll, he ensures that these things are done. But the question is, other churches, are they doing it? Most being pastors take allowance. And once you take allowance, you think it's okay. And the reason why most pastors don't really pay attention is that usually when you are in active service, you go for programs, you get envelopes, the money comes, people visit you, okay? Because they feel you are useful exuberance with power and energy, they will come for prayers, they will chase you. But once you are weak at your old age, and you know that naturally, when we age, at the old age, it comes with natural sicknesses. Your knee will pain you. Your waist will come. Your sight. If the thing is there, it's like Africa. You say, this is Africa. Meanwhile, the thing is Africa. See, so those are the things you cannot avoid. And so, because at that time, a lot of sicknesses come into our cells, in our systems, because our immune system is not that strong. That's where, you see, the salary, it becomes like a pyramid. Your salary or your income has reduced, and your problems keep on increasing. Why? Because the little money that comes to your hand, you have to take it to hospital. So you realize that you need to use to buy drugs. Okay. But if you have a pension that is well managed, at least the money that comes to your hand would be able to sustain you for a very long time before you die. And then in Ghana, most people die when they go on pension. It's not because of anything, no. It's because the money that is coming is nothing to write home about. Very little. His last born is at the uni. He's paying school fees. And unfortunately, he couldn't even also build. So he's paying rent at the same time, school fees. Meanwhile, the salary too has reduced. So with that kind of pressure, right, that is where your age, you realize that you grow more than your normal age. So for us to be able to correct it, that is why we are going to share these things so that we pay attention to certain things. Very, very important.
Au Ghana ici, ou bien dans notre pays, Afrique ici, les gens ne prennent pas conscience de tout cela. Et il y a beaucoup de sociétés qui gèrent l'argent de retraite des gens. Et si nous ne faisons pas attention, et aujourd'hui tu es en forme, tu peux crier, et la personne tombe et beaucoup d'argent vient, celui-là vient te rendre visite, on t'invite dans un programme, on te donne une enveloppe et tu crois que c'est tout. Mais quand tu vas grandir, c'est là où tu vas voir que les gens ne viennent plus envers toi pour pouvoir te donner l'argent. Donc ton salaire va devenir petit. C'est là que tu vas voir que tout ce qui vient sur toi, tu payes médicaments avec pour te soigner et que ce n'est pas bon.
So with a tier 2, because you as an individual or the pastor or an administrative worker in the church, because you have contributed, the question is, someone will say, so at what point can that money be due to me? And then the law says that when you are 50 years and above, and for any reasons, that is incapacity, you cannot work, you go to a labor, you get a certificate, they can give that money to you before your retirement. The compulsory retirement age is 60. But realize that you didn't get to 60 before you can be given that money. But you're at 50, now you cannot work again. So if it is proven, and then you go to the labor, and then they give you that certificate, SNET can give you that money.
Et il y a, comme on appelle, souvent vous pouvez atteindre à l'âge de 50 ans et que vous ne pouvez pas travailler. Si tu vas, ils vont te payer, ils vont te donner tout ton l'argent pour pouvoir faire ce que tu veux avec. Normalement, il faut avoir 60 ans d'abord avant qu'ils vont te donner l'argent.
For the tier 3, every organization has its vesting rules that guide it. In some companies, it's between 3 to 5 years. In other companies, when you have a pressing need and you satisfy some basic conditions, it will be given to you. So with the tier 3, because it's voluntary and there's that flexibility, it doesn't go to the SNET. It's between either the company that is managing it or a fund manager that is managing it. So that one, you don't need to go to pension. You are not supposed to be on retirement before you be able to assess that income or that contribution. There are vesting rules, and it depends on the company, as I've said. Between 3 to 5 years, that one, it will be due, and then you can take it. So all the monies that have been taken from you in the tier 3, you can take it within 3 to 5 years, based on the company you work with.
Il y a des sociétés, quand tu travailles là-bas, pendant 3 à 5 ans, vous pouvez récupérer cette somme d'argent. Et ça dépend de la société.
So where the tier 3 is withdrawn within a period which is less than 10 years, you have to pay tax on it. And it's taxed at 15%. So it's your money, yes. You have contributed in the vesting rule. There's maybe 3 to 5 years you want to withdraw. When you withdraw, it comes with a flat rate of 15%. The reason is that at the point of deduction, it is taxed, it's an expenses deductible. What it means is we deduct it from your chargeable income before the tax is computed. So you have enjoyed tax on it. And since you didn't wait till 10 years and you want to take it back, the government says no problem, it will be given to you, but you have to pay an interest of 15%. In that case, all the investment you made with a profit, the government also gets his share.
Et souvent, si tu n'es pas encore arrivé 10 ans dans ce genre de société-là, et que tu veux ton argent, ils vont te donner, mais ils vont enlever 15% pour faire taxe pour le gouvernement.
See, the idea behind why they are doing that is that they want to encourage us to save more, because they know that during your retirement, you have issue with finances. So the 10 years that is there is just to help us to be able to encourage us to save it for a very long period.
Et quand si on te donne 10 ans comme ça veut dire qu'on veut que tu gardes cet argent pendant longtemps.
So we look at still on the pension modalities. We say the tier 3, the tier 1 by employee, which is the 5.5, and the tier 3 with a maximum of 16.5% are deductible expenses. I think I've mentioned it. So what it means is that we take it out of our chargeable income before we arrive at the tax that we need to pay to the government.
Et dans ce, comment on appelle, retraite, modalité, on enlève, ton argent qu'on enlève, c'est-à-dire on enlève taxe dedans.
So for the tier 3, what happens is that some companies, they would contribute a certain part out of the 16.5%. So for instance, you can decide that we are going to pay, let's say 10% of the tier 3 on behalf, that's the church. We here are using the church on behalf of the pastor or the administrative workers that are in our church. In that case, that investment goes in and then is being saved. But you cannot go in all, you cannot go beyond a total of 35%. That is having your 5.5, the 16.5, the 13.5. You cannot go beyond it. In a company A, as an example, which I know of, the company pays 10% out of the 16.5. He pays that 10%, and then the employee would pay, let's say, the 6.5 to make up the 16.5%.
Il y a certaines sociétés qui paient 10% et vous, le travailleur aussi, va payer 6% pour que ça soit 16%.
So with the tier 3, the part that is being given or paid on your behalf by the employer, that is your company, what some companies do is that they used to shape behavior. When you are summarily dismissed, they will not give that one to you. So it's like you are maybe an associate pastor, and then for one reason or the other, you indulge yourself in something that is immoral, and then you've been expelled or something, or your appointment has been terminated. The church has the right not to pay that money to you. And by law, you cannot take the church to anywhere.
Et si vous êtes un pasteur et puis vous faites des erreurs immorales, l'église peut te chasser et il ne donne pas cette somme d'argent, il va prendre. Et c'est par la loi aussi, partout où tu vas partir, ils ne vont pas te donner.
So in some companies, they say if one doesn't serve for 7 years, he or she does not become eligible. Especially companies that they feel that the labor turnover is high. People keep on leaving the company. They can use that one to say, okay, before you can assess 100% of that contribution that the company is paying on your behalf, you need to serve a minimum of 7 years, which can also be done in the church the same way.
Et il y a certaines sociétés qui disent, voici, si vous voudrez avoir comment on appelle, l'agent de retraite là, il faut servir au moins 7 ans d'abord avant qu'on va commencer à payer pour toi.
And then one will qualify for the basic pension based on the following. One, that's the basic pension, the one we know. The first one is that you need to attain the compulsory retirement age of 60. So you cannot say that I've contributed, I've come to Senate, please give me my pension money. I want to go and chop it. The law doesn't allow you to do that.
Cette société-là, ou bien cette banque-là, pour aller dire, voici, j'ai trop donné mon argent ici, j'ai beaucoup donné, donc donne-moi. Si tu n'as pas encore arrivé à l'âge de 60 ans, on ne te donne pas cet argent.
And then the second condition is when you go on voluntary retirement, the act allows you by 55, if you feel I'm too tired, I can't work again. So voluntarily, instead of waiting for the compulsory 60 years, you say 55, let me go. And then you can go, that one you'll be qualified to be given.
Et à l'âge de 55 ans, tu dis, je suis fatigué, je ne peux pas continuer à travailler, je vais me reposer, puis on va te donner ton argent aussi.
And you must have also contributed over a period of 180 months. It's also one of the conditions. It means that your salary deductions, the SNAP deductions should have been. So it's like, assuming you have just contributed a part, you are just 55, or let's say you are 58 years. Then you start to pay the SNAP. So that means you have just 2 years. 2 years, so how many months? 24 months. You haven't got into the 180 months as part of the requirements. Okay, so you won't get a full pension benefit as expected.
Donc, si vous êtes 55 ans comme ça, ou bien tu dis, je vais commencer à payer, là, on ne va pas accepter. Vous devez payer jusqu'à ce qui est 118 mois avant qu'ils vont accepter.
Please, if you forget anything, this is the point you should not forget. You see, a lump sum is given based on your contribution, and your monthly pension is also dependent or depends largely on the last 3 best salary during your active service. So I told you that the formula relevant here, what is most important is within the formula, the variables within the formula, how can we influence it? And this is where, as an individual, we can influence it.
Voici un formulaire bien comment vous pouvez influencer votre retraite, l'argent de retraite là. Parce que si on regarde les derniers 3 mois de service où tu as travaillé, là on augmente ton, comment on appelle, ta retraite, l'argent de retraite là.
So what it means is that the pension is not a constant amount, that I'm on pension, so I'll be giving 1,000 cedis. Could you Mensa also be giving 1,000 cedis? I'm a Mensa, 1,000 cedis. It doesn't work like that. It's one of the variables that influences is your last best 3 salaries. So assuming you change job, or even within the same job, your salary jumped. The 3 best one, the biggest, right? The best 3 out of it. That would be one of the variables that are very, very important. And because of this, okay, I know I'm on Facebook, so I won't mention the name of the company, okay? I know of a multinational, okay? What they do is that, and I'm saying at this point, I have to spend time to explain. Do you know what they do? When you are getting to, let's say, 52 years, they know that at 60 you go on retirement. What they would try to do is that at 52, even if you are a factory hand means those below the ladder, what they try to do is that they would promote you. When they promote you with a big title, then you handle a certain project. So in handling the project, they also give opportunity to also travel outside the country. So you are taking per diem, whilst your pension is also going up because the salary has jumped. But the government is going to pay based on the last best 3 salaries. So when they do that, and then by another 2 years, you get another promotion. Another 2 years, you get another promotion. So by the time you get to 60 years, your salary is like this. And when it's huge like that, what happens is that the government, because they know that after 60 years, they have stopped managing you. The rest is on the government. Okay? So the government is going to pay you based on the last best 3 salary. And because your company has been able to do that thing for you, whereas you are on pension, and the people on pension, they are taking more than 7,000, 10,000. Yes. Okay? And these are some of the things that you do. Okay? So it's very, very important. Well, as a church, what you need to do is that we need to focus on how we can take advantage of this. It's not illegal. It's like tax avoidance and tax evasion. Okay? So tax evasion is illegal, but avoidance is not illegal. So in much the same way, you look into the acts, then you see to what extent can we take advantage. And that is where I'm trying to draw your attention on. So please, let's be smart. If you are church leaders, we need to see how we can also leverage on this opportunity. So as and when the person is getting closer to the retirement, you see to what extent can we increase his salary? Because it's very, very, very important. Otherwise, he goes on pension. As for the government, it's the last best 3 salary. So if you are taking 120 Ghana, and the best is just 300 Ghana, it's the same thing they're going to use to calculate for you. So it's very, very important. Please. See that my voice has come down. I don't want others to hear. You see? So, hallelujah. You can clap if you want to clap.
Il y a des sociétés que tu es là comme comment on appelle là, un secrétaire ou bien quelque chose comme ça. Et quand tu arrives à ton retraite, ils vont t'élever ton salaire de ils vont te donner 3 fois ce que tu recevais. Mais quand tu vas en retraite, c'est le gouvernement qui va payer beaucoup pour toi.
Some of these secrets, if not Apostolic Summit, you not get them anywhere.
Si ce n'est pas ici, si c'est dans cette conférence-là,
So it's something that when you go out there, I think we need to go and work on it. Let's sit down with our leaders, let them know that there's an opportunity for us to be able to capitalize on it. It's not something that is ungodly. No, it's a lapse in the law and you're taking advantage of. So it's just like tax evasion and tax avoidance. If you do tax avoidance, it's not illegal. The government cannot arrest you. Okay. So these are some of the things once you're exposed to, we need to do that because most often the pastors go on pension and you see their life. You and I know that you are not even happy. Why? Because you made those mistakes, which you could have influenced certain variables. But it's either you were not aware, and if you're not aware, hopefully today we've been able to expose ourselves to this so we make sure we are able to comply.
Et nous avons fait beaucoup d'erreurs auparavant, mais cette fois-ci, c'est une occasion qu'on peut aider les pasteurs. Donc, si tu vas chez toi, il faut les introduire pour qu'ils puissent.
So please, if you forget anything in this second presentation, that line alone, you can write it boldly. Because that's what they're going to work on. The how that one depends on you. The how is going to be done. Now, I've exposed you to how other companies are doing as multinationals. That's what they are doing. So you too, the how. Because if the person's salary increases, what it means is that at the end, when he goes on pension, it's the government that is going to take care of it. The higher the salary, the last best rate salary, the higher the pension. So that's why I said the formula at this point is not important, but the variables in the formula, to what extent as an individual, how can we influence it? And that's what I've exposed it now.
Et voici comment vous pouvez influencer votre retraite plutôt. Merci.
And then when you also attain a compulsory age of 60, so I can skip them. This one, they are just straightforward to read. So I can skip it since I'll make it available. I have few minutes, about 15, less than 15 minutes. So I'll skip that part. It's just straightforward. When you read it, the most important point is what I took my time to explain. So that the next action to be done, you go back and go and fix it. And then we are looking at the taxation system of churches. Most often, we are ignorant about how we need to structure our system in such a way that we pay taxes. Generally, churches are not supposed to pay tax, which is clear. The law doesn't require a church to pay tax as an entity. Let me be specific. However, people or the administrative staff within the church are required to pay tax. Please, let's note that point very well. Very, very important. So what it means is that all the statutory payments, in terms of the payee, in terms of the SNAID, the basic one, which is compulsory, all of them, people working, including the security, you're supposed to pay taxes on whatever earning they have.
Au Ghana ici, il y a la loi que les églises ne paient pas taxes, mais ceux qui travaillent dans l'église doivent payer taxes. Même les sécurités, celui qui est sécurité, comment on appelle, celui qui est gardien paye taxes.
So for the offering that we collect on the pulpit and then the tithes, they are non-taxable. So if a GRA staff comes and you want to intimidate you, that I want you to pay tax on the money you collected, at least now you know that legally you're not supposed to pay tax on it. It doesn't have any legal backing. Sometimes it comes up during the media, why are the churches not paying taxes? And then a whole lot of arguments, right? I don't want to open that discussion. If I open it, you'll not finish now. Okay.
Il y a les médias qui disent toujours pourquoi les églises ne paient pas taxes, tout cela.
So we look at the allowable deductions. What are some of the things that we can deduct it from our salary before we arrive at the chargeable income? That's what you are going to look at for.
Comment ils déductent, comment on appelle, ils enlèvent votre taxes avant que ça arrive dans ta main.
So most often, the SNITs, which is a 5.5%. So if your basic is, let's say, 1,000, before you pay a tax on the 1,000, this 5.5% will be taken from it. So the lower the chargeable income, the lower the tax. So there's that direct correlation between the chargeable income and then the tax you're going to pay.
Et si votre salaire est base, ça veut dire qu'ils vont enlever tout petit peu de votre retraite aussi dedans.
And then also the tier 3, since it's voluntary, it is capped at a maximum of 16.5%. So if you are contributing, you as an individual, more than 16.5% of your salary, that one you can take it from your basic of the 1,000 before you also arrive at the chargeable income, before you pay the tax on it.
Et si vous payez ça individuellement aussi, et ça aussi c'est 16%, 16.5%.
So just to be able to explain something small here, somebody, I'm sure somebody says, oh, what is the tax percentage that I have to pay to the government? I know that question is coming to their mind, so it's going to be solved here. So when it has to do with the corporate has to do with a flat rate of 25%. For 2021, I have not seen, I went to their GRA website, I didn't see any amendment yet. So as it stands now, 25%. And then for an individual, we don't use a percentage as a constant percentage or a flat percentage. There's something we call a graduated skill. And that is how it's demonstrated here. So what it means is that for assuming you have you are paid 1,000 cedis. So the first 309, that is after you have taken your SNET from it, right? The remaining amount, the first 309 Ghana cedis is free. You don't pay any tax on it.
19.
The next 100 cedis, you pay 5%. The next 120, you pay 10%. The next 3,000, you pay 17.5%. And then the next 16,461, you pay 25%. So the higher you earn, the more you pay. Okay, the higher you earn, the more you pay. Now, the last band, it used to be 10,000 per month. That was in June 2018. And then it was revised in January 2019 upwards. So what it means is that when it happens like that, it helps those that have a bigger salary. Okay, so in this case, a greater percentage of your salary, okay, that would have previously gone into taxes where the government will benefit. Because of that amendment, there will be a certain burden that will be lessened. Okay, so this is how it's done. And with this, for the purpose of this presentation, I'm not going to teach how it's calculated. Right? We have programs that you can use to be able to track it, which I have a couple of programs that I designed for companies using Excel to do it. So once, the idea is to let you know the difference between how a graduate scale looks like and then how a corporate is paid, right? You are supposed to pay in terms of your taxes. So that is the essence of bringing this thing.
Il disait, si votre salaire est grand, vous payez aussi votre retraite grande. Si c'est petit aussi, vous en avez petit.
So just to summarize everything, we said that the 5.5% is paid by the employee, the 13% is paid by the employer, Tier 3 is paid by both the employer and the employee, and the employee is the tax amount using the graduated scale. Now you know what a graduated scale is. And then 5 is withholding taxes and NHIS for churches that run other businesses. So if you have a church, if in your church you have other business that you run, like a transport business, like a school, that business aspect, that aspect of operation, you don't say that because it's a church you don't pay tax. No. You're supposed to pay tax like a corporate entity. So please, let's note that.
Si vous
it's very, very important.
Une église, et puis dans l'église aussi a fait école, ou bien ils ont des bus qui va et vient, fait va et vient. Dans ça, vous allez payer taxe. Mais l'église elle-même, elle ne paye pas taxe.
So in terms of where to file what is what you can find there, the tier 1, the tier 2, where do we send it to? The tier 3, where do we send it to? So all of them, they are there. The payee, after the end of the month, where do you send it? And then most often this, because it's statutory payment, it's supposed to be paid on or before the ensuing month, 14th of the ensuing month. So if you're in January, so by latest by 13th to 14th February, all the deductions you made in the January payroll, it must go to those bodies. Otherwise, you can be asked to pay penalties. So if the GRA guys come in and said, you failed to pay this amount on time, and for that reason, you have to pay these penalties. Please don't fight them. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. That is why I have the opportunity to come to Apostolic Summit to get this knowledge so that you know how to run the administrative structures very well. Because church is an institution. It's an institution. It's like a corporate body. The only thing is that the objective that differs. Apart from that, it's just like a normal company. So there are certain things you need to get them right. And when you are starting, you don't get the structures right, it will be something that you never get it right because the foundation was not well built. So it's something that is very, very important. We should take note of.
Vous devez aussi payer les, comment on appelle, tout ce qui, tes employés que tu as pris, les salaires, tu as enlevé toutes les taxes. Il faut les payer au gouvernement rapidement, sinon vous allez payer des pénalités.
And then there's this one point of interest we should note of. Most often, when we start to work, it's likely that we were single. When we started work, it's likely that we were single. So when we were filling the form, next of kin, then you put your father's name there or your mother's name there. Now you have married, you have wife, you have children. Next of kin at the Senate, you still have your father who has even died. Right? It's a mistake that most of us are doing. So please, from now, from here, when you go, you can walk to any of the Senate office. They also have an online. You can call them. They can open a portal for you. Then you update. Otherwise, if you are gone, you are going to give problem to your case. All your benefits will not be given to them unless you go through a lengthy procedure by getting a letter of administration. And you know the lawyer also take his part. The lawyer will not help you get letter of administration for getting sick. You get his part. So why don't you correct it now? So as we move along, most often we don't pay attention to that side. And I'm sure if you are to be honest, most of us here, our next of kin are either our sisters, brothers, or our fathers. True or false?
True.
You can't clap if you want to clap.
Et il dit, quand tu as commencé à travailler, on dit, ah, si tu n'es pas là, ton argent doit te donner à qui? Tu as mis le nom de ta mère ou bien ton père là. Mais aujourd'hui, tu es marié, tu as fait des enfants, mais tu as oublié d'aller changer ce papier-là. Si tu n'as pas changé, si tu meurs aujourd'hui, tous tes bénéfices vont aller chez tes parents, ou que tes enfants avec ta femme, ou bien ton mari avec ta femme, tes enfants vont souffrir.
Thank you so much. That's the end of the presentation.
Voici la fin de toutes les présentations.
So, any questions, comments, and a contribution, maybe you can contribute. If you want to ask questions, any clarity, you want to have the clarity, you can raise your hand.
Si vous avez des questions, c'est le moment. Oh, acclamons très très fort. Levez-vous s'il vous plaît. Acclamons très très fort.
Yeah, if I capture it well, you said it is good for us to be dropping something small, so that at the end of the day it will help us. I want you to help me or help us. You know, certain time, we do spend the money before we receive it. Good. Let me set you an example. Like last 2 months, my son applied training college. And it was Thursday afternoon. They called and told us that tomorrow is the deadline to pay the fees. And it was only 2,000 was in my hands. So where was the 1,500? I entered some areas and got the 1,500. So now, if I get money right now, I'm going to push it there. So how can I manage it? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So as I said, these things happened mainly because, as I said earlier, that has to do with the planning. The earlier planning, we could not anticipate that these things could come.
Le frère demande pourquoi, il dit de garder de l'argent un peu là. Mais souvent, on dépense l'argent même avant que le salaire même vienne. Salaire que tu n'as pas encore touché, tu as déjà dépensé. Donc quand ça vient net, tu disperses et puis tu mets là. Mais il demande comment on peut garder de l'argent. S'il vous plaît.
Okay, so as I was saying, you find yourself in this situation because earlier, we had not been able to plan to anticipate that this problem could come in order for us to save towards it. However, when you find yourself in such a situation and you are having money somewhere, you say that, no, this money is for investment, so I will not let my son go to school. No, you need to find a priority, and at a particular point in time, which one comes first? I hope you understand. And then with your situation where you didn't have anything with you, and then looking at it is very critical, taking money from someone, okay, to be able to help him go because it has to do with his future, which there's nothing wrong with it. However, the next thing is your ability to be able to generate extra fund to sort that problem before even the next salary comes. So that is why I said that we need to always think outside the box. Okay, so that when you have a synergy, 2 plus 2 is supposed to be 4, but somebody says it's 5. So why is it 5? And that is why we'll be able to think outside the box. So until that problem is solved, where you took the money, okay, and the next salary comes, it will be recurring. And I'm sure in the next 3 months, another school fees, the term will end. The semester will end, then another thing will also come. So it has to do with earlier planning. So if you had done that earlier planning, even though some of these things could come, but you'll be able to find a way to manage it. Please, have I answered it? All right, thank you.
Il dit, asseyez-vous s'il vous plaît. Il dit, c'est parce qu'auparavant, il n'a pas bien planifié sa vie. C'est pourquoi aujourd'hui, il était dans cette difficulté. Mais à partir de maintenant, ils doivent chercher un autre travail à faire ou bien quelque chose à faire rapidement pour pouvoir payer cette somme d'argent avant que le salaire vienne. Ça ne tarde pas et il va finir le premier semestre et il doit payer encore de l'argent. Donc, il doit faire rapidement pour que tout va bien.
Okay. My Lord, these scammers, how can we know? And how do we have to find out to know their journey? But when they are coming, they give contract to advertisers and personalities to advertise it and speak well as if the company is genuine. So we are in trap. When you see a personality or company who are advertising about these people, well, how do you know they are scammers?
Okay. Right. Comment faire pour savoir des compagnies qui ne vont pas tarder à chuter? C'est-à-dire parce que souvent ce sont des personnalités même qui font la publicité de ce genre de compagnie-là.
All right, so that is why we say it's a Ponzi scheme. When you say a Ponzi scheme, it means that they try to make it look as if the thing is genuine. They do in an intelligent way. So it's part of the process where they will make you believe them. Okay? And the mere fact that a company is advertising does not mean the company is genuine. That's one thing you need to take note of it. Very, very important. The mere fact that it's been registered and it's advertising on the radio, for all you know, there are certain fundamentals that are not being fixed well. And I think I shared those things as an individual so that you don't become vulnerable is in any form that it takes for you to be able to identify them. You first need to find out whether they are properly regulated. I think I mentioned that part. So when they are properly regulated, the reason why UT Bank, Unibank, and those customers got their money, they didn't lose their money, but then Men's Gold lost their money is that those banks were properly regulated. The only thing was that at the Bank of Ghana, some people fail to supervise properly. In that case, you become an innocent party, so the government cannot punish you. But in the case of Men's Gold, the purpose for which the company was established, he was doing something different, which means that in terms of being there as a bank to regulate, to operate that business, even the SEC, that's Security and Exchange Commission, did not. So that is one thing. You need to first find out whether they are properly, and then you need to, the information is there, you can find it. So whether they are duly registered, you can find it. And the second one is, the one I said is that no matter how the scheme looks like, is the debate, like when you are going for fishing, you see, the bigger the bait, the bigger fish you get, isn't it? So they know that once I put a higher interest, that's where you'll be motivated. Okay, like my cousin that I told you, he says when he came, most of the doctors, they were all doing it because the interest was juicy. So when it happened like that, there's nothing like due diligence. So it's a trick. It's part of the scheme. That's why I say it's a Ponzi scheme. So that's why you've been able to expose to those things I mentioned. So once you go through those things, they can never get you. Never get you. Please, have I answered the question? All right, good.
Alors, il faut faire beaucoup attention parce que ce sont des gens qui sont vraiment très doués pour persuader. Mais il y aura toujours des signaux auxquels il faut faire très attention. Et ce n'est pas parce qu'on fait la publicité d'une entreprise qu'elle est forcément normale. Et il faut chercher à savoir si cette entreprise-là est réglementée, si elle est légale. Parfois, ce n'est pas légal et les gens ils font du business. Donc, il faut rechercher ces informations-là. On peut les trouver. Il faut les rechercher pour s'assurer qu'on fait le bon choix.
Okay. Here is Missionary Stephen. There comes my question. I want to find out, how long will it take someone to claim his benefit when the 60 years is due? Then 2, why third tier is paying tax? How much and how long?
The last question. The last question again.
Last question. Mm-hmm. Why the third tier?
The third tier, okay.
The third tiers are paying taxes. How much do they pay and how long it will take them to claim? And the first one is, how can I claim? Or how can someone claim his benefit when the 60 years is due?
Okay.
And how long it will take? Should he consult lawyer and so forth and so on? That's the question.
Okay.
Je voudrais savoir, après combien de temps, après avoir eu les 60 ans, je peux réclamer ma pension.
Right. So basically, they already have your data with them, because when you register with a SNET, once you register, they have all your details. So if your company or your employer says that, okay, at the age of 60 you are due, you just walk into their office. You don't need anybody. You just walk into the office. They have someone who will take you through the necessary steps. So it's not anything that is difficult. And then in terms of how long it takes, it depends. It has to do with the government. So I may not be able to speak so much on it. Right now, at first it used to take a long time, but I'm sure within a month you should be able to have it. All things being equal, maximum a month. You should not go beyond a month. Should be able to have it. And then the second question was on the third year, why we pay tax on the third year. All right, so the reason why we pay tax on the third year is that, that one, there's that flexibility. We said it's voluntary, and that there's that flexibility, and it comes with the vesting rule of your employer. Because it comes with the vesting with the employer, which can be taken within 3 to 5 years, depending on the institution that we are working with. You remember that I said that before we arrive at the chargeable income, that part that you paid is taken care of from your income before we calculate the tax on it. So you have already enjoyed the tax previously, okay? That is why now they are saying that if you can't wait for 10 years, then you have to pay the tax on it. And the reason why they do that is that they want to encourage as many of us to be able to save enough towards our pension. So that is why. It's because initially you didn't pay the tax. Now, if you are saying that you can't wait for the 10 years, the government says, okay, then you pay 15% tax. So it's voluntary. So you can say, okay, then because of the tax, I won't even take the money at all. So that's why I say it's a voluntary payment. Please, is it answered?
Normalement, ça ne doit pas te prendre plus d'1 mois pour pouvoir réclamer tes droits de pension parce qu'ils ont toutes les informations qu'il faut avec eux. Et tant que du moment où tu as les documents pour prouver que tu es en âge d'aller à la retraite, que tu as tous tes documents avec toi, tu dois rentrer en possession de cela. Maintenant, il avait demandé concernant les taxes, la pension. Il y a une certaine partie de la pension qui va aux taxes, sur laquelle on doit payer des taxes. Alors, il a demandé pourquoi. Et il a expliqué que c'est quand tu veux jouir de ce bénéfice-là avant les 10 années, parce que tu dois contribuer pendant 10 ans avant de pouvoir avoir accès à ça. Et quand tu veux retirer avant ce temps-là, il y a une taxe qu'on te demande de payer.
Well, thank you. So just to add to that, for me, the government is being fair. You cannot enjoy something that you don't deserve. At the initial point, the government is encouraging you to do a 3rd year so that you save more. He wants to help you. And then you are saying that, okay, I've saved 3 years. The one you helped me that I didn't pay tax. Well, at the initial point, I didn't pay tax on it. And you are saying that within 3 to 5 years, you want to take the money. I go, okay, no problem. If you want to pay, then the tax that I didn't take initially, now you have to pay it. Is the government not being fair? Yes. So this one, there's nothing like the government is cheating us or anything. The only thing is that because you have used that money and invested it, the government is also going to enjoy some of the proceeds on it. But that one too is also fair.
Selon moi,
that's the only thing.
C'est raisonnable de la part du gouvernement de prendre une taxe sur cet argent-là. Parce que normalement, tu as utilisé cet argent-là pour faire des investissements. Et l'État n'a pas voulu prendre de taxe dessus. Maintenant, tu veux en jouir avant le temps qui t'est donné. Et c'est pour cette raison-là que le gouvernement décide de reprendre ce qu'ils auraient dû prendre.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Our big man started with images. And we are also developers. Our environments are our spectacles. Now, as we are sitting, we come from an image development. God is our image. We are in His image. Now, I used to find it difficult when we have the word to develop our environment. We talk of poverty and all those things, pension and all this things. I see it not to be a problem to us. So I want you to use thinking, thought, dreams, to help us to have, because it was dream that brought you there. Baba, it be dream. You dreamed before all these things came. So how can you teach us how to dream to come to this standard? Not to your class, but where we are. We have gold up there, but we are not dreaming. We are still thinking about poverty. How can we develop when those poverty mentality is upon us? So give us some dreams. Yes, sir.
Alors, de nos jours, on parle de développement, on parle de pauvreté et de tout ça. Moi, je voudrais qu'on mette l'accent sur les rêves. Parce que c'est notre capacité à rêver qui nous pousse à atteindre l'objectif que nous nous sommes fixés. Donc, j'aimerais qu'on mette l'accent sur les rêves.
Thank you. And please, I need your help. For instance, the church I am in, let's say the pastors are not being paid, but it's like appreciation that they do give them. And the appreciations to, they are not being paid. They don't pay, but they do appreciate them. And the appreciation too is yearly. And the work too they do there is farming. And the farming too is seasons. And I'm from Upper West. We farm just once a year. Let's say if I farm once a year, and I do appreciate, by my church once a year. How do I pay this tax? Or how do I pay? How do I generate the tax towards my pension? Thank you. For that one, I can't best tell, but I believe it's lack of fun. I believe.
Ok, j'aimerais savoir, pour me concernant, notre église ne paye pas, ne rémunère pas ses pasteurs. Et il nous emmène à cultiver des champs, mais ça se fait chaque année. Aussi, chaque année, ils nous donnent un jour où ils nous font des dons, en fait. Les pasteurs sont rémunérés avec des dons annuellement. Dans ce genre de situation-là, comment est-ce que je peux préparer ma retraite?
All right, so let me just answer before maybe I may forget. So basically, with your situation, we only pay the taxes on whatever you have earned. So if you have not earned anything, you are not paying the tax on it. However, with your situation, for instance, it's not like a constant salary. These things are paid on salaries. The payee is paid as you earn, okay? And it's mostly deducted by your employer. So you don't even see it. Before your salary comes, it's been deducted at source. So it's not like it will come and then you say, because the garbage is not even using the tax money, well, I won't pay. No. It is paid as you earn. So it's deducted at source. So with your situation, so long as you don't have a constant flow of salary, you are not mandatory to do it, because before the tax guys would ask you to pay, there must be evidence that you have taken salaries, which will show either in your pay slip or your bank statement. Okay, or there should be a record at church that will show that. But so long as those things are not there, obviously not. However, that is why I say that we need to always think outside the box. Once you accept that, okay, my area is just a farming, okay, and for that reason, I'm not being paid, all right? Usually, when there's a problem, right, that is where you try to think. The leaders, they need to think outside the box and see, how do you solve this? Remember, I mentioned being a problem solver. So it means that it's a problem to you. So how do you solve it? The house, right? That is where you need to engage stakeholders, let them think beyond. Sometimes you don't need to get big qualification or degrees. No. It's just about understanding the situation, the problem that is there. Try to understand it. Then once you understand, you ask yourself, okay, you Jojo, then how then do you go it? So it's the house. And ability to solve the house is where you want to solve the problem. All right. And then with also just own, I truly agree with you. But then that is why we are here for this Apostolic Summit. It has to do with orientation, getting the right orientation. You see, getting the right orientation, the mindset, the training. Okay. So that is what will shape the behavior. So once you get the right orientation, okay, as I said, most of the things I pick them on pulpit. When Bishop will be preaching, I'll just come and say, small boy, then I'll just be there. I have my small notebook, then I'll write something. So you can preach all the preaching, I'll listen, but until I get a certain line, that line, even if I close my eyes, I can remember. Those are the things I was doing. All the things that really help shape me and everything. And any group that I find myself in, they see me as unique. And I pick them from the pulpit. So the kind of message that we deliver. And one thing I like about Bishop is he's a 360-degree perspective person. He doesn't focus only on the spirituality. He does that. He preaches along business, having a business acumen, mindset, creativity. He does that aspect. Because beyond the holiness, beyond the prayers, he believes in prayer. And then sometimes when he's preaching, if you're not careful, you say, is this man of God, does he believe in prayer? He will tell you the practicality. Let's give it to him. Please, let's give it to him. And those are the things that I think we need to vary the kind of preaching that we deliver in the pulpit, right? We need to vary it. How do we train them to be smart? If there are conferences you need to go, you yourself need to update yourself very well. Like this conference that you have come. You will not get them anywhere. Sometimes you go online, there are certain, Google is very smart. You can type in a certain information. How do I train maybe a child to be smart? And you get a lot of articles that have been read on it. You can read and you begin to teach them. Because we lack them, but we cannot say that we have lost it, so we let it be like that. You need to start. So once we try to give them the right orientation, I'm sure these things that old soldier mentioned, you'll be able to get there. Thank you.
Concernant la question sur les taxes sont déduites seulement des salaires. Alors si tu n'es pas payé à proprement dit, on ne peut pas te demander de payer de taxes. Maintenant, il faut apprendre à ne pas se contenter de ce salaire-là et chercher d'autres moyens pour pouvoir s'en sortir. Maintenant, concernant le papa qui a demandé par rapport aux rêves, qu'il voudrait qu'on mette l'accent sur les rêves, il dit c'est pourquoi ce genre de programmes-là sont organisés. Il faut apprendre à les chérir parce qu'on nous apprend à voir les choses, les situations sur tous les angles possibles.
Daddy, my name is Apostle Michael Kwame Dansu.
And please be as brief as possible because of the time.
Global Fundamental Church, Konongo. My question is simple. My late brother was a contributor of its needs, contributed tremendously, but when he died, we family went there, saw that the name that he placed there was wrong. So Senate denied to offer what the family must take. So we want to seek advice from you. In that case, that level, what am I supposed to do to claim our benefit?
Mon frère était un contributeur à SNIT et quand il est décédé, il y a eu un problème sur le nom de la personne qui devait hériter de ses biens. Et SNIT a refusé de contribuer, de payer. Dans ce genre de cas-là, qu'est-ce qu'on doit faire?
My name is Ali Jeremiah, Ali do Jeremiah, Northeast. Okay, my question is about even though he has answered part of them, about the financial floaters that have been all over the country. I remember how he's mentioned about this Piram. I was here when they floated my own brother. So my question is, how can you screen them? Or how can you sack them from the country so that they cannot be doing such a thing? Thank you.
Ma question, c'est de savoir comment est-ce qu'on peut bannir les gens qui viennent pour profiter qui viennent avec des compagnies pour profiter de nous. Comment on peut les bannir du système?
My name is Lar Makuntma from Tamale. Lar Makuntma. The Lar is spelled L-E-E-R. The Mak from Tamale. I want to just add some suggestions. After that, I will ask my question. I think the investment, things that you were listing, about 5 of them, I have observed that there is something that we need to add, if that is my opinion. Long suffering. For instance, I make a deposit of 100,000 Ghana cedis within a specific period of time. In a small scratch in my family, then I rush to the deposit lesson. I withdraw the money. Meanwhile, it has not reached to the maturity time. It means that at the end of the day, I'm not getting anything from the investment. So that is why I think it's also part of the investment, capital that you can augment, long suffering.
Good.
My question is, along that line too, that is the investment opportunity. You mentioned that we need to be smart. And this smartness sometimes leads us into engaging ourselves in immoral practices like engaging ourselves in corruption. So how do you reconcile these things with our faith that kicks against those things? Thank you very much.
Alors, en parlant d'investissement, vous avez dit que nous devons être malins. Mais jusqu'à quel point nous devons être malins pour éviter que cela n'entache notre foi?
I'm Alfred Awekida. Alfred Awekida. How do we develop saving habit when, because we learned the source of income. I learned that almost 70% of us fall within selling up our properties. So how do I develop saving habit when I fall under this category? I said we learned the source of income. And I learned that almost 70% of us has been fall within the selling our properties. Yes.
You have a problem.
Okay, how do I develop savings habit?
That's it.
Comment est-ce que je peux développer l'habitude d'épargne, l'épargne, une habitude à épargner?
My name is Reverend Stephen Bedu. I'm from Dunkwa. My question is, I was working with a private entity, but from time now I have stopped. I want to know if the SNIT they were paying, I can personally continue paying it. My second question is, I want to do some business and then have necessary about the business I want to do, but the capital is not there now. So what can I do?
J'ai travaillé avec une compagnie pendant un certain temps et j'ai arrêté. Je voudrais savoir si moi-même, je peux continuer à payer le pourcentage qui versait en prévision de ma pension. Si je peux personnellement continuer à payer cela.
Yes. Yes. Brother, okay. So, the contribution, yes. Yeah. Okay. I've talked about that. Yeah. All right. So, on the one that you said, your brother, you lost your brother, what it means that you are not supposed to be denied of the benefits. What you need to do, you need to go to their office. They would help you with someone who can lead you. There's something called letter of administration. They will do that, and then all the benefits that need to accrue to the family will have to be given. The name of your brother, or the next of kin, you see, and the next of kin is not. It's none of your family members. Mm-hmm. So is the name issue? So that should not be. It's the same. Just see maybe a legal person. They can help you. They can help you once they are convinced to be able to identify that maybe it belongs to their family. Once they are convinced, they should be able to give it to you. That shouldn't be a problem at all.
Le problème du frère décédé dont l'héritier, il y avait un problème sur le nom de l'héritier. Il demande de consulter un avocat.
All right. And then the one that asks of how to business. Okay. So if you want to understand that to be a great entrepreneur, the starting point is not about money. It's your ability to take risk.
Pour être un bon
and the desire
entrepreneur,
to take risk.
il ne faut pas se concentrer sur la somme d'argent à investir, mais ta capacité à prendre des risques.
Because if you, and then also the second thing is for you to be able to have, I showed some of the things to start a business with. If you really understand the type of business, okay, you know your customers, and you have the burning desire. Those are the three things by Dave Thomas, okay? If you have these three things, all right, and you're able to put up a good business plan, you can get people that can sponsor. Very convincing business plan. Very convincing. Okay, a lot of people have started business where they didn't have the money. Okay, you can use Uber as an example. Uber commands a lot of cars, but when you started, they didn't have just even one single car. I hope you understand. So always, it's not about the money. Once you think that the money should be, and most of it, that's why we know that when I get money, I'll do business. Once you have that mindset, it will never come to. It will never. So the money shouldn't be something that should prevent you. A stumbling block kind of, right? So once you have that mindset, it's the risk and ability to understand. There are some people there's something called business angels. It's your ability to make the thing professional. Once you make it very professional with a business plan, very convincing. There are a lot of people that have money, they want to see a place and invest. So if you are not getting it, it means maybe your plan is not convincing enough. Please, have I answered the question? All right, so thank you very much.
Pour entreprendre une affaire, il ne faut pas se focaliser sur les moyens financiers. Il faut d'abord identifier le genre d'affaires que tu veux entreprendre. Il faut savoir la marchandise, ce que tu veux faire comme activité, il faut bien savoir. Et puis, le genre de personnes que tu veux toucher, c'est-à-dire les clients que tu veux toucher, il faut apprendre à étudier toutes ces choses-là avant de voir l'aspect financier. Parce que tout ça, ça va t'aider à être un bon entrepreneur.
All right, so thank you very much. So the last word that I have to leave here is that, as I said, most often we think when the anointing is so much on us, it's enough for us to progress. One thing that I like about Bishop is he tried to make sure that something that you need to use wisdom, you need to use the wisdom. And something you need to use spirituality, you have to use spirituality. So your ability to draw a line between these two determines how far you can go. Thank you very much.
La plupart du temps, on pense que c'est l'onction il faut l'onction.
Come on, be on your feet. Your clapping is very, very weak. Be on your feet and let's appreciate him. Come on.